The world is a lesser place with you being in paralysis. The world needs you to be who you're supposed to be, and not just because of their own need, but they need to see people whole. They need to see people who love themselves. They need to see people who can acknowledge the brokenness within them, address the brokenness within them, and still keep going. Most people have massive insecurities, and we see it very clearly when we're little, but when we're adults, it's a little more sophisticated in the way that it comes out. And one of the ways I want to talk about is the way that the motives of what you do play into your head. If you have a significant amount of self-awareness and you're getting ready to do something, one of the things that will happen in processing that internal, that underlying insecurity is questioning why you're doing something. And are you doing something to be seen? Are you doing something so that people notice you? People give you that pat on the back? Or are you doing something because it's genuinely aligned with your identity and it's a genuine demonstration of love to the people around you? And what that can do is create this kind of paralysis where you end up not doing the thing that you would have otherwise done because you're stuck on why you're doing it in the first place. And there's a part of you that's gonna not want to do it simply for the sake of not wanting to be a hypocrite, not wanting to be fake, not wanting to be false. There's another part of you that's gonna want to do it so that you can be seen and so that you can get that insecure itch scratched, like all of us need to be seen and acknowledged and loved. And what I'll say is this: the world is a lesser place with you being in paralysis. The world needs you to be who you're supposed to be, and not just because of their own need, but they need to see people whole. They need to see people who love themselves. They need to see people who can acknowledge the brokenness within them, address the brokenness within them, and still keep going. So I don't know that the brokenness will leave you, but I do know that you need to stop, you need to pause, and you need to say, hey, who am I? Because this is pointing to your identity, it's pointing to how you view yourself, it's pointing to your framework, your belief system, the things that have been planted in you as a child. And as I think about my own childhood and my need to pause, I realized that it was religion. The thing that they said was gonna save me in a lot of ways that really messed me up, because in order for me to understand how much I needed to be saved, I needed to understand how much of a piece of feces I was. And I'm not saying there aren't things to be worked out within all of us, but there are actions and there are behaviors, and then there's who you are. See, one of the things I was taught is that I was so bad, so terrible, so disgusting, and yet somehow, some way, God managed to love me enough to send his son to die for a wretch like me. That's what we say, for a wretch like me. And I'm like, no, man, no. I was so freaking amazing. I was so beautiful. I was so stellar. I was so lovely. I was so great. And he's like, man, I see you and I'm coming for you. And there's a difference there. And it might not make sense to you, but as I've been processing this stuff, there's a real difference between someone seeing me as freaking amazing and someone like, man, I guess I'm gonna help that little, there's a whole lot of bad words that come to mind. Why? What do you say to yourself when you're by yourself? How do you speak to yourself? How do you talk to yourself? One of the things that I think is helpful for me when I'm in a place where I'm having a rough time, when I'm feeling that brokenness, and when I'm feeling that fear, and I'm feeling that deep insecurity, is to pause and to say, hey, how would I treat someone else in my scenario? What would I say to someone else in my scenario? And I think the reason why that gospel of feces hit so hard and so real is because I already believed it anyway. I already believed I was a piece of feces. So this made perfect sense to me. It made perfect sense to me. And I think you got to get to the place where you start to have the other side of that make sense, where it makes sense like, oh man, I'm amazing. Some of my behaviors don't line up with the amazing way that he has made me. But I'm made in his image. I'm an image bearer. He's a creator, I'm a creator. I'm gonna go get it. He's full of love, I'm full of love. I'm gonna go get it, I'm gonna go give it. I'm gonna start by loving myself well, and I'm gonna love other people well, because they are also made in his image. They are sacred. And it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter how they align to me or not. Politically, racially, in any of the other ways, I'm gonna love them because they are amazing. And they are made in his image, just like I am made in his image. And there's this freedom that comes with that. When you start to operate from love, and when you start to operate from a belief system and an identity that's built in love, that's trenched in love, it's just a different vibe. It's different energy. And you got to do that. You got to think those things and do those things. And it is the thinking and doing. It is the belief and the behavior. It is the faith and the works that will begin to grow you and pull you out of a negative cycle, out of a depressed cycle, out of a self-centered cycle, out of this struggle with your ego. And you will begin to realize, like, I don't need to be out here to be seen by other people. I don't need to love to be seen by other people. I love other people because I love myself. I want you to feel this stuff. I want you to have this stuff. I want you to taste this stuff. Because if it's good for me, it's got to be great for you. But I can't give it to you if I don't have myself first. Start internally. Be amazing. Not because you're trying to prove something to yourself or to anybody else, but be amazing because that is a natural outworking of who you are. That is your essence. That is your beautiful and best self. And it starts with identity, and it starts with belief, and you can have it today.